What's up, YouTube? Here we are doing our full M21 set review. I'm Ethan, also known as Lord Tupperware. I'm joined by Alex, aka Corticals from the Limited Level Ups podcast. We are going to be doing the entirety of M21, starting with white. A couple things. We're going to go in Wooburg order, then we'll do multicolored and then colorless / lands. We'll separate those out into a bunch of little parts. And we're going to separate the cards in color by commons, uncommons, and then rares and mythics. And then within those, we're going to switch things up a little bit this time. We're going to actually be doing them not in order of alphabetical, but in order of CMC, which I think might be a little helpful. Alex sort of mentioned that like doing them by in alphabetical order was just sort of arbitrary, whereas CMC might actually help us like see how things fit along a curve in a color. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start things off right away with the Cortical special. A white 1-drop, baby. This is Anointed Chorister, single white for a 1/1 human cleric with lifelink, and there's 4 and a white activated ability. Anointed Chorister gets +3/+3 until end of turn.
Yeah, so this, I'm glad we're starting with this one, because I think this really sets the tone for white as a color. Like, you know, every set I call a 1-drop that people, I think, are going to underrate for, you know, a good amount of the time. And this one has me excited. You know, I have a little thing that I think that, you know, the classic joke is, you know, did you know flying is good and limited?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of formats where, like, lifelink is actually the busted ability, right? And not to say I'm sure it's going to be this one, but this card excites me. I think white really wants to play, like, the classic, you know, if you think of mono white and cube, like that kind of strategy in this set, white's really aggressive, and I think this is going to be a key part to the white decks. Like, I think you're going to want 2 to 3 of these in every aggressive green-white or red-white deck.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a really strong role player. I think you're just going to we're going to see a card a little later in white's commons that I think pegged as probably the best common in the set, and I think it's going to want as many 1, 2, and 3 drops as you can get your hands on, and this is going to particularly play well. So I'm going to really be valuing this card highly. What grade do you give it?
Well, I mean, I want to give it like
you can't go higher than C, right?
A B+, but I'm not going to go there. No, I honestly, I want to start this as a C+. I want to start as a C+. I think it's going to be important.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go just C, but
yeah,
perhaps that's a little conservative. And then the tech here, boom. All right. What do we got here?
All right, so we got a classic. We got Defiant Strike. So this is a single white mana for an instant. It says target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. You draw a card.
So we'll see a little bit down the road that there's prowess in this set. It doesn't exist in white, but it does exist in blue and red. So this is like a classic card for that. Otherwise, I'm not. There's also a theme in, looks like blue and green, that cares about drawing multiple cards in a turn. So that's where I think this slots in. Like, this isn't that exciting. Obviously, it's like, I mean, it's a 1-mana cycler coming off of Ikoria in a way.
Yeah.
But this is filler, I would think, at best.
Yeah, it's kind of a sideways synergy card to all those strategies, right? Because you know, white doesn't necessarily play a part in, you know, blue-red or blue-green, but if you're like blue-white, this could be a thing, or blue-red. Like, you know, this kind of reminds me of, like, blue-red is like the prowess aggressive deck in this format.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes to mind is like the red-white prowess deck from War that came together near the end of the format, where, funny enough, had Spellgorger Weird, which is in the set, right? So I think maybe red-white might have that, like, slight prowess theme.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is going to be a good card there. It's never a atrocious card to include in your deck. Some decks will start to actively want it at some point, and there are going to be, you know, the things that we're not seeing where it's like, oh, like buffing this by a single point is actually an important interaction, right? So and never a high pick. But.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see white's got a 1-mana 1/3 coming up. So like, if you've got like a creature with low power, high toughness, this like also interacts well with that, because you now have the opportunity. Your opponent thinks they're like going to attack in and bounce off of your 1/3 with their 2/2, and then you eat it. Like, it has some applications, but I don't think it's like higher than like a D+.
No, for sure not. And you're gonna know if your deck wants it, right? If you have those draw trigger synergies, or if you have like a decent amount of prowess creatures.
Mm-hmm. So D+, all right with you?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Cool. Next up, we have the aforementioned 1/3 Staunch Shieldmate, single white for a 1/3 dwarf soldier. again, I think this is going to overperform.
Yeah, so do I. I was thinking about that too. So I think, just to go back to what we were saying about like what the white decks want to do, I think it's just the classic like play cheap creatures and anthem them, and not so much anthem them with like inspire charge type effects, because I think there's like not that many versions of that card. Yeah, there's not even an inspire card, but it's mostly like put counters on your team, or X amount of creatures on your team. And just like turning this into an early 2/4 is not the most exciting, but it's like a discount version of the other 1 mana card we saw, right? Like
that's kind of crazy if you get a counter on this incidentally. A 1 mana 2/4.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is your counters are going to be a scarce resource, right? You're going to want to like put them on the things you want, on your good creatures, and not to say that this is an awful thing, but
there's something to be said about like spreading out, like not about spreading out those things so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. I think there's something to be said about like, oops, now this is a 2/4, and oops, now the other thing is a 2/2 lifelink instead of a 1/1 lifelink. Like, I don't know. Yeah,
no, I think like sometimes some amount of drafts in your white aggressive deck, you're going to get all the other good cards, but you're not going to get the good 1 drops. So you're going to be like, all right, I guess this is a fine replacement.
Yeah. Whoa, wait, fine. I don't think this is that. You think this is that much worse than the Chorister?
I think not having lifelink and not having threat of activation is like reasonably worse, but I think it's like markedly worse. So like I'm gonna give this one like a D plus C minus.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go C minus. I gave the other one a C, so it's not a huge difference for me.
Sure, yeah.
So you what do you want? C minus?
Yeah, I like this one at C minus.
All right. Got a good doggy up here.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite. So this is Alpine Watchdogs. This is 1 and a white for a dog with vigilance, and it is a 2/2.
Yeah, I think this is fine. Again, like the difference between this getting a counter and not getting a counter is pretty big. Like a 3/3 Vigi versus a 2/2 Vigi is something like a 2/2 vigilance. So we saw this in the last core set, right? There was a Greenwood Sentinel, which was 1 and a green for a 2/2 with vigilance, which was just like filler at best. This is one of the things that the red-white uncommon cares about, right?
Yep. The Hunt Master goes and gets this dog.
Right. So we'll get to that a little later, but this has synergy within red-white with the signpost uncommon. But I think also just like again, wears a counter well, and is fine. Like this feels like C minus to me.
So yeah, and there's a white version of this card is much better than a green version of this card. Generally, and sometimes vigilance is kind of like lifelink, where depending on the format, the value of vigilance goes up or down. I think this is going to be a fairly combat oriented format, and not just because it's a core set, right? I'm not just saying like, oh, we're going to be attacking with creatures and blocking with creatures more because it's a core set. I think the cards in the set, like it lends themselves towards that kind of play, like more than say M20 did.
Well, I think every single one of the signpost uncommons is a creature, except the blue-red one, which makes a creature.
Which is a creature, yeah, exactly.
So I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
All right, so
I mean, let's C minus and some D plus maybe. It's in that area.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Concordia Pegasus is here, 1 and a white for a 1/3 with flying. 2 mana 1/3 flyers always overperform. And again,
always except for the last times we've seen them. Apparently, like they've been. I
guess what was a lot. So Ravnica Allegiance, this wasn't great.
No, even with like high alert.
Even with high alert.
Yeah.
And then.
Glimmerbell. Glimmerbell was like a thing.
Glimmerbell. what a roller coaster I went on with that card. Yeah. All right, so that's fair. Maybe we've reached a point where these don't overperform always. I mean, again, I think this feels like another card that if you get a counter on it, that's huge.
Yes. Yeah, just random 2 mana flyer is much, much better than 1 mana flyer. So yeah, I do think, for what it's worth, that this card is going to be a little bit better than your average 1 power flyer, because there are a good amount of ways to get counters on it. And the blue-white deck also does care about flying to some extent, not entirely, but there's going to be pockets of synergy where you're going to want to have as many flyers as you can get if you get the good uncommons.
That's true. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think solid C here for me.
Yeah, that's totally fine. This is one that's going to go up or down. It might just be one you just take or leave, right?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
not a cheap card. I'm excited about.
Oh! So this is Daybreak Charger. So this is 1 and a white for a 3/1 unicorn. When Daybreak Charger enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. You don't like this card?
I don't really. My default is that 2 mana 3/1s are bad. Now we don't see token makers in this format. Like there's not like the goblin whatever, like there's not like the 2-drop that makes 2 1/1s. There's no Forbidden Friendship style card here, which I think makes this better. We've already seen 2 1-drops that we're actually happy to play, so that makes this better. So perhaps this will be an exception to my rule. I just don't quite know, like, and I do think that the Acolyte that we're going to get to in a little bit does just make you want to jam as many curve out cards as you can. So, maybe this is going to be great.
I think that's going to be the case. I think this ability is pretty huge. Like, just, getting in an extra 2 points on your 1-drop, pumping your Pegasus or any other random flyer. Like, I think this is a good card. Like, this is another one that I'm just going to give a solid C to. I think this is a good white aggressive card.
All right, I'm in for C. That sounds good.
Because, like, one of the things is just, like, you draw your 3/1 on turn 7 or 8, and it's just like, all right, whatever. But if you can get into that 2 points and change the clock a little bit, then I think that matters.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We got an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. So we got Feet of Resistance. So we got 1 and a white for an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn.
This card is so good.
This card is, I think, in this context, it's also so for some context.
Yeah, there you go.
We saw this last in Khans of Tarkir, right? And Khans of Tarkir, the thing that in Khans of Tarkir that made this card good was that the removal was fairly clunky, right? And the format itself was actually fairly clunky. There weren't many tempo plays, right? So this being a 2 mana way to interact with a combat or a 6 or 5 mana removal spell was pretty busted, right? Like that was a huge tempo swing, and there's also slight +1/+1 synergies, right? There's that too.
Yes.
In this set, I think giving a counter is good, and I think that since combat seems to be like it might be a bit more compressed, I think that makes this card a bit better than just it's in a vacuum.
Yeah, this was the best white common in Khans of Tarkir, and that was a very, I mean, as you said, it was clunky but a powerful set.
Yes, yeah.
This is a core set with +1/+1 counter synergies. I anticipate this being I have this currently as the second best white common. I think this is really strong.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty strong too, especially because there are just like some incentives to just like aura up your creature at some point, right? So I think that this allows a lot of kind of degenerate things to happen with you feeling okay about your creatures dangling out there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to start C+ here on feet.
Yeah, I'm there. I could see this moving to a B+ B- as well.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. So next up, we got Revitalize, a reprint here. 1 and a white for an instant. You gain 3 life. Draw a card. So we've seen this before, and I think it's also important to note that in the black-white life gain theme that exists, 3 is the magic number. A lot of things care about if you've gained 3 life this turn. So this card feels like it slots in really nicely to support those cards.
Yeah. So I mentioned this week with Abram, but the designers and developers over at WotC, they like to have a little fun with us, right? They like to when they're designing their sets, they like to look back in the set and go, look back in previous sets and go, okay, what's some cool reprints that we can reprint? And often those reprints are cards that were not as good in the previous set. So the next time we see them, we're like, oh, we've seen this card.
Right.
Like it's just classic Revitalize, right? But usually the reprints are better than they were in their previous. They think Wrap in Flames is the perfect example of this, right? From Theros Beyond Death. So not to say I think this is great, right? But I think that you're gonna play this card once in a while. If it becomes like 2 mana, draw a card, draw another card, quote unquote, gain 3 life, like that's reasonable.
I think again for the reasons we stated about like it playing well. I think outside of white green, this card is going to be a strong role player, is my guess. Like In white, red, and white, blue, I think you're going to be able to get some prowess value out of it. And in white, black, you're going to get the life gain value. And then there's probably inherent synergies in white as well. So I think this is probably like, I don't know, synergy C-.
Yeah, I would say that as well. I feel like you probably won't see play outside of white, black, or like if you have a lot of just like...
You don't think if you've got, like, if you're like white, blue skies with that like Windrake with prowess that you want, like... Cantripping prowess triggers, I think, are good.
Yeah, the 2 mana puts me off a little bit, right? I think you're always just gonna want Defiant Strike, but I can see it. It also lends itself to being like there's sort of niche strategies where you can be like a blue-white control deck. That was kind of a thing in the past with this type of card, but that's more of a niche thing. But it can come up.
Yeah. All right. So what do you give this?
I like your grade. I like just sticking with what you said.
Okay, sounds good. All right, maybe some disagreement coming up here with this card. What is this?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So this is Swift Response. So this is 1 and a white for an instant. Destroy target tapped creature. So give me your take on this one first.
I'm being set up to fail here. I think this card is good. So, we saw Take Vengeance in the last core set. This is strictly better because it's an instant. This is like Seal Away from Dominaria at common. The argument that I think you're going to make is that white is an aggressive color and that this is not good in an aggressive deck, right? Because really the only time you're probably then firing this off is if you're racing with your opponent. Now, if we think that this is going to be a very creature-based format, it's likely that racing is going to come up a fair amount, would be my guess. Or that like there are going to be times where you are trying to exchange attacks with your opponent. I think, like I said, I don't have this ahead of the combat trick that we just talked about. I don't have this ahead of the Basri's Acolyte that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I do think this is probably number 3 for me right now. Yeah,
so I think I'm a little bit lower on the card than you are, but not by much. I think that this card is quite good. I have that's my exact order as well. Our white commons seem to be aligned.
Yes.
I think that people are going to overrate this card because it does just look like straight murder a lot of the time. But at the same time, like the instant is a huge upgrade. And I think, you're right that would be my argument that the white decks are going to be aggressive. But I also think that in black, white, and blue, white, this card is just going to be very good, right? Maybe not as much in green, white, and red, white, but even like you said, you're going to be racing some percentage of the time against other aggressive decks. So I don't have many knocks against this card. I have a few, but I still like it.
It's good. I think I'm on C+ for this for now.
I will say, you made the comparison to Seal Away, but I think by the end of the format, Seal Away was like...
It wasn't that good. No, I agree. But and it had a similar problem in that, well, 1, white was not very good in Dominaria.
Yes.
And 2, the best white deck was white-blue, probably.
Right.
And that was a deck that like just had tempo pieces as well. Like, Blink of an Eye or whatever was like probably just better than Seal Away, So, I don't know. I think Swift Response is going to be good.
Yeah, I like the C+. I could even see, like, just being a very cheap removal spell, right? That might be really important against opposing aggressive decks.
All right, we got Celestial Enforcer up next. 2 and a white for a 2/3 human cleric. Pay 1 and a white, tap it, tap target creature, but activate this ability only if you control a creature with flying. Wah wah.
Yeah, it looks like they took this one and it started like a real good card and they just like slowly picked away at it and they were just like, all right, this is what you got, folks.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Right, I mean, the floor of a 3-mana 2/3 isn't bad, but
it's
not seems exciting. Kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not bad.
You couldn't make this, like, you're telling me this couldn't have even been like a free tap with the claws? That doesn't even seem that busted to me.
Or like 1 mana.
2 mana, and you have to have a flyer?
We just sound like Reddit comments now. We're just like, why isn't this card better? Oh, God.
I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm off Reddit. I don't know anything about
Reddit. So I think this card, all things aside, I think this card is going to be fine, right? I think it's
fine. Give me a letter. Talk to me in terms I understand.
Sure, I think it's going to be a C.
No, I think this is worse than a C. I'm going C-.
So I think that this is a card that you're not going to play unless it's good for you, right? So the question is, how often is it going to be good for you? I think there's just like enough incidental flying. Like there's Sky Scanner running around, right? I think there's enough incidental flying that it's not going to be too hard to turn on. And not that it's a bad card, and so not that it's a great card, even when you can turn it on. But I think it's just like super fine.
Wow, super fine has been
Yeah.
called. Great. Sounds good. All right, next up we got Dub. What's this card?
Dub. So it's 2 and a dub for enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +2/+2, has first strike, and is a knight in addition to its other type.
This card is trash.
This card is trash has been called. All right. So
are you gonna try and sell me on Dub, Alex?
yeah, I'm gonna try to sell you on Dub. So so Dub was a victim of its time the last time we saw it. Would you agree?
I would agree it was bad in Dominaria, yes.
Yes, I would. So I don't want to say this card is great or anything, but look, if we're looking under the lens of half the white decks are going to be quite aggressive, right? This is a good aggressive card, and we have Feet of Resistance. That's my argument. Mic drop.
So what you're telling me is that I could play good cards like Feet of Resistance.
Yes,
and use them to protect bad cards like Dub.
Yes, you can do that. So I think just putting this on a lifelink or even putting this on a flyer is not it's not amazing, but it's a thing, and I think this is going to be your 23rd card more often than you would expect it to be.
Yeah, this is. I agree that this is definitely going to be better than it was in Dominaria. But there's also Ranger's Guile as well, which is a hex-proof trick.
Yeah.
I agree this will be better. Where are you putting it? Do you give this like a synergy grade? Do you just think White's going to be aggressive most of the time? That you just give this a straight upgrade?
No, I would still probably just give this like a D+. I think you're gonna know when you want it, right? I think that's one of the things. It's not just like a generically good card by any means, but I think it's gonna be better. And even in Dominaria, like that was a thing you could do, right? Not that it was great, but it made its way into a decent amount of decks sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we got Legion's Judgment up next. 2 and a white for a sorcery. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. So I haven't done any math on this. What do we think about this right now? Probably just started off sideboard, yeah? Sideboard.
So you know who has done some math on this? Our friendly neighborhood data scientist, Irkovitz.
Okay,
right?
What do we got?
And so, well, if anybody has the infograph he posted on Twitter / the Discord, that'd be great to post in chat right now. But basically, this card hits nothing. Not nothing, but a very small percentage of
that's
cards.
Probably not taking into account +1/+1 counters.
It does.
It does.
He took Indestructible into account. He took context into account.
All right, we got it here on...
It's Dub, though, as Beers points out. This card does hit a Dub creature.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I may even do some fancy post-it in the YouTube video at this timestamp action.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there it is. Yeah, looks like Legion's Judgment hits basically nothing. All right, sideboard it is.
Yeah, and that's there's always the question: do we main deck this card in this format, right? And I think it's a strict no in this one.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair.
All right, next up we have another returning competitor. So we have Makeshift Battalion. This is 2 and a white for a 3/2. When Makeshift Battalion and at least 2 of the creatures attack, put a +1/+1 counter on Makeshift Battalion.
Yeah, this seems like a very solid C to me.
Again, I think this is going to be much better than it was in its previous format, right?
Right, War of the Spark, white was the worst color.
Yeah, and it just it didn't have the tools to ever attack with 3 creatures. Like you were never attacking with 3 creatures, right?
But this does seem like, based on the fact that we've got 2 1-drops that we're happy to play in white, that it's very reasonable to think you can curve into this card, which is quite strong.
Right, and that's one of the hallmarks for a card like this to be good, where you want good cheap cards, and there just weren't good cheap white cards in War of the Spark, right? Or good cheap white, yeah. And I think that once you get to is this card playable, we have to evaluate what does it do in the format, and how good is a 4/3 attacking opposed to a 3/2. I don't know how much better that is. But it could be a meaningful stat upgrade.
It's 1 power and 1 toughness more. That's
it is exactly 1 power and exactly.
Okay, we got there.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. Like a lot, like 3-drops can still trade. Like a battalion on blocks can trade with this on attacks, even with the buff. So it's a lot worse than if it was like a 2/3 that then became a 3/4, you know?
Yeah, or something like that, right? It's hard to say where that break point lies.
Mm-hmm. But I still think this is, yeah, like I said, solid C.
Yeah, let's start with the C.
Warded Battlements is 2 and white for an 0/3 wall. It has Defender, and it says attacking creatures you control get +1/+0.
I kind of like this card. I
kind of hate it.
You kind of just straight hate it?
I kind of just straight up hate it. It reads to me mostly like an enchantment. And you would never play this as an enchantment. It's a little better. It's just a wee bit better, but it's not that much better.
Yeah, and it's a Goblin War Drums, which is not particularly... You would never play that. Yeah, I guess I'm just doing a quick scan here without doing the numbers. I'm just like looking at what this actually blocks.
Like, but imagine how much better this would be if we had a Raise the Alarm variant. Like, then you could maybe start to talk me into being like, all right, well, you can like curve into it. Now you're attacking with 2 2/1s on 3, but you're just not doing that.
Right. It's got a little. It's got the numbers are a little too great or too little in the wrong places, right? Like if this cost 2, I think you'd be okay with it.
Sure.
This was an 0/4, I think you'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of like Dub. I think you're gonna play this as your 23rd a decent amount of the time.
I think this is just straight trash? I think this is a D. Like I think you're gonna be sad if you have to include this in your deck.
Okay, I mean, I'm gonna start this at C-. I think you're gonna be sad. I think it's gonna be more of a C- though.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Best common in the set, baby. Basri's Acolyte. What is this?
So this is Basri's Acolyte, 2 white for a lifelinking 2/3 cat, and then when Basri's Acolyte enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures you control.
And this, my friends, is why green is terrible in limited. White gets a 4-mana 4/5 at common. With like 2 of that power having lifelink and 2 of it having haste.
It's Saddleback Lagak is back, baby.
It's back. Yeah. This is B for busted for me.
Yeah, this card is very, very good. And it's shocked me that this card hasn't been getting the press that I think it deserves. Or like I just haven't heard any hype about it. Well, great. Basically.
You, me, and these 178 viewers can draft it appropriately until everyone else catches up on it.
Yeah, this card is quite good. Like imagine ever going, any 1, 2, or 3 drop in any combination, this, and then playing another one. Right? Like,
but that your opponent has already conceded after you've cast the first one.
Not to mention any combat tricks, any feat of resistance you might have while engaging in combat in that scenario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this card is very good. This is a B.
This is a B. Are you on best common as well?
I hadn't thought about it in that way, but look, you don't have to convince me to
like what else is in contention? Grasp of Darkness?
Yeah, Dragonfire in red, I suppose.
This I think this is better for the same reason like Cloudkin Seer was better than 1-for-1 removal. This is better than 1-for-1 removal, I think.
The knock against it is like, 4 mana is certainly a knock, right? It's hard to be like I want 5 of these, but maybe you do. Who knows?
I do. Yes, I'll take 5 of these right away, please. Thank you.
All right. I'll join you with top common until we, maybe we'll decide otherwise. That
it may have to it may shift once people start valuing it appropriately, but I think it'll be underrated.
Yeah.
All right. Gale Swooper is 3 and white for a 3/2 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until end of turn. That's nice.
This is also very good, right?
Snapping Drake with upside.
Yeah, like we had that card. It was from Ixalan. I think that like it jumped something, gave it +1/+1.
Imposing Vantasaur. Yeah,
that card was great. Right, that card was very good. Aerosaur. Yeah. Now not giving +1/+1 is something, but still, like it gives the important part. The knock against this card, of course, is that it's another 4-drop.
It's another 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think that's a real thing to think about.
But you're not going to get all the Basri's Acolytes you want, right? And so if you have 2 Acolytes and 2 of this card, that's such a stacked 4-drop slot, right?
The weird thing for me though is that like blue-white is skies, and I just can't imagine ever wanting this over Acolyte, even when I'm in a dedicated Flyers deck.
Yeah. I feel this is a worse card in Flyer in blue-white, right?
Yeah.
But in white green, white red. Like this card is gas. The thing, I mean, Snapping Drake's not exciting these days, but it's still going to be a reasonable card on curve, and like getting that haste ability is real nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like curving Makeshift Battalion into this is pretty nice. Get that up 3 power up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should clarify. I think we're getting some. I think people are perhaps thinking we are not understanding Acolyte, so I'm just gonna hop back to my favorite card real quick. So yes, we understand that this cannot put counters on itself, and that it can only put one counter on a creature. So it puts a counter on one creature, and then if you have 2 creatures, then you get to put a counter on each of those. If you have more than that, then you get to choose 2 of them. That's still busted, and that's why we're so high on the 1-drops. Why we're so high on just like get any 1, 2, and 3 drops in your deck, and then jam as many of these as possible, and that's why it's so powerful.
And I've heard some talk of you don't get full value of if you don't have creatures on board before you play this. But like that's where good deck building comes in, right? You want to, like you just said, you want to have as many 1/2s as you possibly can, right? It's not it's one of those cards where if you just tell somebody it's good, they might run astray and be like, I'm just going to play this card without understanding the context of where it's good.
Correct.
Right? Or like how to maximize on it.
And where are you at on Gale Swooper? I'm going C+.
I think just C. C on this one. Yeah, it's powerful, it's good, but like the body is fine. It's a 3/2. Like 3/2 is Snapping Drake's not exciting, and the ability bumps it up from like a C-.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Weird card here, Rambunctious Mutt. What is this?
Yeah, so we have 3 white for a 3/4. When Rambunctious Mutt enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So there's actually a decent amount of enchantments just running around, artifacts as well, at common and uncommon. So I think that we're gonna get to another 5-drop in a second here that I think is a little bit better, but this is a totally serviceable card, and I think you can totally run it. It's not going to be the 5-drop you want in your aggressive deck, but you can play it, and I think in like a slower white deck, this is going to be a card you're like, yeah, I do actually want a copy of this.
So I think we're already seeing the benefits of looking at the cards in CMC order rather than alphabetical order, and that I feel like I have a really good sense of white's curve, and I don't think we've got that like weird split that we often do with white.
No, we don't. I was thinking that as well. Right? You're totally right.
There's often this like weird half the cards go in a control deck, half the cards go in an aggro deck, and I don't think there are any control cards yet, Alex.
Yeah, no, it's
so
what the world we live in.
I don't think a 5-mana 3/4 is something that the white decks want. I'm gonna start on just sideboard for this card.
Oh, so I mean, like, so the way I'm thinking of the white decks is that they're kind of split. It's like there's red, white, and green, white, and there's blue, white, and black, white. And not to say the black, white, and blue, white aren't going to have some sort of aggressive bent to them. Like, not that they're not going to be like mid-range aggro, as opposed to like
blue, white is definitely going to be tempo, right? Tempo skies. Like, what else is that deck going to be?
Right, but it's not going to be like the same kind of like 1-drop, 2-drop, cast my Anthem effect kind of curve out white deck. Right? I think there's a distinction to be made where like you're not upset to play this card on 5 if it nabs something, right? What the blue-white deck gains in a bit of resiliency and a bit of ease of getting through, it loses on the clock. It's usually going to be a turn behind like a red-white aggro deck or something like that, right? So like this is where this card is acceptable in that spot.
Okay.
So I think like. It's not going to be, like I said, it's not going to be your 5-drop of choice in a lot of your white decks, but I think it's going to be like a totally serviceable card, and it's going to nab something a good percentage of the time.
All right, well, you have to keep me aware of what cards we're blowing up with this, because my initial thought was, well, there's no pacifism.
Right.
There is Capture Sphere.
The Capture Sphere is trash.
The Capture Sphere is trash, which does not bode well for blue. But like... yeah, so just point those out to me along the way. So what do you?
Sure.
I'm gonna start sideboard. You tell me what grade you want.
I want a C-, but I can buy sideboard as well. Like I'll just say C- though.
All right, we got Secure the Scene next, which is 4 and white for a sorcery. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token.
Yeah, it's Clunk City, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's like, yes, it's clunky, but I think it's good.
So we were just talking about how the Rambunctious Mutt, like, not like the white decks aren't going to potentially want it, or a subset of them aren't going to want it.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to want this card either.
Oh, no way, dude. So being able to go like, and maybe I'm undervaluing the effect that the 1/1 has.
Yeah.
But like, what curve out decks want to do is go like 2-drop, 3-drop.
Oh, you're explaining to me what the curve out decks want to do, eh?
Well, you got all excited about green decks. No, I'm explaining for the viewers.
No, I know.
You go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, and then your opponent slams their 5-mana 5/5 as like a now I'm stable, and then this is the thing that gets out their biggest threat so that you can smash all,
Yes, yeah, I will, like, there's a weird paradox where aggressive decks want expensive removal spells.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
that's
just
the weird
specifically catch-all removal spells.
Yes, specifically catch-all removal spells. Yeah. It's honestly the 1/1 that's like holding me back, because that's the thing that, when you in that aggressive curve out deck, right? A lot of times the important turn is that turn 5 where it's like, get that thing out of the way, attack. And if that is subdued by, absorbing the largest attacker, that can matter, right? And so yeah, I think my initial reaction to this card was too low. But I don't love it, I guess, is where I'd land on it.
All right, so here we go.
Right.
I don't hate this comparison. I'm not sure how close this is. Is this just Kasmina's transmutation? Am I tricked myself to think this is something different?
Maybe it is.
Maybe if it's Kasmina's transmutation, I'm a lot less excited about it. This is obviously different because you can like bounce the thing with transmutation or whatever.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much the exile is going to matter. I don't think it's a ton. I think there's a few cards that matter.
There's some like if a thing died this turn, whatever. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm starting C. I'm starting C with this.
I'm gonna start C- on this one.
Okay.
I'm just not excited about it.
That's fair. Last up.
Yeah, here we go. Last line. We got Valorous Steed. This is that other 5-drop I was talking about. So this is 4 and a white for a 3/3 Vigilance. When Valorous Steed enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance.
I like this card.
Yeah, this is just like stone cold, super solid, right? It's just good. It's not something exciting. It's not something you're gonna take highly. But remember there was the black version of this card in the last set, or the last
where you had to exile something.
Yeah, and it didn't have Vigilance, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a good play in your aggressive decks to put multiple creatures on the board. It's a good play in aggressive mirrors. It's a great play in aggressive mirrors, actually, right? And then in slower white decks is also quite good. So everywhere it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this at a C just because you can't give too high of a grade to a 5-drop, of course. But
yeah, I think solid C for sure. It's going to move us into the uncommons here. Sanctum of Tranquil Light up first. So we've got a full cycle of shrines here. This is the white one. Single white for a legendary enchantment shrine. 5 and a white, tap target creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control.
Ooh, big tug at the collar.
You know what I didn't realize? So are they all legendary?
Yes, they are all legends.
Oh,
yeah.
That's disgusting. I did not realize that.
Yeah, it makes it a lot worse. So you can't just like stock up on them all in a single color.
Not that like stocking up on the white one would be good, but like other ones of them.
Right, they stack. Is this an F?
Is this an F?
Because what's the best case scenario on this? So you have, a reasonable best case. Like say you have three shrines in play. This still costs 3 to tap something.
But you can do it twice.
You can do it twice. That matters.
I don't have a sense for... It's hard for me to give this an F out the gate, but it's pretty close. Like,
I think this is the one where it's like your aura, that you aura up your other shrine, because you're like, all right, I'll play this. It's not doing too much, but it gives me a little bit of a bonus, and it makes my other shrine better, right?
Yeah. I
think that's its place. And costing 1, that makes it so, I'd say.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go D-. You want to go? Yeah, you want to go full F?
No. I'm loath to give a card an F because I always think there's a place for every card. Yeah. But I think D- is good.
Yeah.
Now I got Selfless Savior. So this is 1 mana, 1/1. Sacrifice Selfless Savior. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of the turn. Or as somebody in my Twitch chat said, it actually has no text because how could you ever sacrifice this card?
Ha ha ha. This is fine. This is maybe even better than fine because of like how much you're gonna want white 1-drops. Like
I think this card is very good. Yeah.
So it's like Dauntless Bodyguard, but you never have to pick a target. Like it's just flexible.
Yeah, flexible, cheap. You want those 1-drops. I think this card is like a C+ in my books. I mean, it's like think about the other times we've had these cards, right? Like Alcia the Life's Bounty, which was good.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good. And then like you said, Dauntless Bodyguard.
Resolute Watchdog was fine.
Yeah, Watchdog was fine. This is much better than Watchdog, right? For those decks.
I'm good with C+.
Yeah.
Next up is Angelic Ascension, 1 and a white for an instant. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Its controller creates a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying.
Oh man, this one's a lot to unpack. So I think a lot of people, maybe people who aren't as familiar how these cards play out, look at this card and they're like, straight up kill something, give them a 4/4. I think some people don't take into account how punishing giving them a 4/4 is. Like they imagine taking out their 7/7 or whatever, right? For 2 mana, and that's a good deal, downgrading it, right? But more seasoned players know that this is a gigantic cost, right? Like giving your opponent a 4/4 flyer is not good. But no scenario you would like them to do that. So you have to look at the opposite side of the equation and say, how often are you going to use this on your own creature, right? What is the rate that you're going to do that? And I think the fact that you can upgrade a random 1/1 token or a 2/2 that whatever, or use this as a virtual counter spell to counter opponent's removal spell, and then some percentage of the time you're going to get to be able to exile an Aura up creature or exile like an 8/8 or something and then bounce it. I think this is not a good card, but it's a playable card. There's also this scenario where you attack, and then on opponent's turn they attack, you upgrade your 1/1, you block with your 4/4, right? Like there's stuff like that, right? So this card is flexible enough that I'm willing to say it's decent.
Flexible enough to say it's decent. I guess I'm higher on it than you.
Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna have to talk you down on it. So yeah, you tell me.
You mean talk me up?
Oh, sorry, talk you up on it. Yeah, sorry.
This is good. This is. Okay. I mean, this is like. So again, if we had to raise the alarm, I think this would be way better, but we don't. Yeah. So there's not like tokens running around really, but like. I'm basically never trying to target my opponent's stuff with this. I'm always trying to target my own stuff. So, getting it out from under a capture sphere, responding to removal, or, my opponent has a combat trick to try and blow me out, and then I get to just go, okay, I'm going to turn my creature into a 4/4, that's fine. The ambushing stuff in combat that you talked about, I think is also good. But also just like at a certain point, your 2 mana 2/2 is now irrelevant in the game. And now you get to make it a very relevant card.
Yeah, it's just an aura, an instant speed aura, flash aura. And you said you never want to,
but you can do it.
Exactly,
right?
You can exile your opponent's creature, and that matters a lot, right?
This is like a B-.
Whoa, that is high.
This is a good card.
Holy crap!
This is Alex. So, let's just for a second. Let's think about this in the old Aquaria context. This is a 2 mana mutate at instant speed.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's really good.
That's tough. B- is so high for this effect.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna give this a C. I think it's good, and I think it's playable. I don't think it's gonna be a B- though.
I think I don't know.
Oh man, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see where this lands.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's up next here?
All right, so we've got Basri Solidarity. So this is 1 and a white for a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
Yeah, this is very good.
This is what you want, right? This is like one of the payoffs for these low to the ground white decks. We saw what was it, Oath of Ajani way back in Aether Revolt, and that card was quite good. I think that this card, it looks like a worse Anthem effect, and it kind of is, right? It doesn't just like sit there for your later creatures, but it's quite powerful. I think if if you're coming in low on this card, it's gonna be better than it looks to you, right? I think a lot of people are just like, right now, from what I've seen from conversations, people are thinking this card is kind of like sort of anemic and kind of like not what you want to be doing. But I think this card is quite good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It's not better than the Acolyte.
No, I think you're gonna want at least your first Acolyte.
And even though this costs 2, it essentially is like 2, but you can't play this until turn 5. Like,
yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine. I think this is like, I'm gonna go C+. C.
Yeah, C? I like C+ on this one.
Yeah,
I can see. I can see this coming down though if like our thoughts about what the white deck.
I actually think I want to go C. I'm gonna go C for this.
Sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
Griffin Aerie is next. 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. I really want to like this card.
I was gonna say this has Ethan Sachs written all over it.
I just don't think it's good. Like, it's so slow.
So how many game 3 triggers do you have to have in your deck to put it in your deck? Just straight up. Forget about timing. Forget about how good is it making it 2/2.
I want to trigger this twice to be happy, and I don't even know how likely that is.
So you want
16
what?
Revitalizes.
Yes, you want 16 Revitalizes. You want like 7 ways to gain 3 life, right?
Yeah, which I just don't think exist.
So there's Revitalize. There's
a 4/3 lifelinker in black.
There's Tavern Swindler.
There's Anointed Chorister. Pump that baby up, and then you're gaining 4 life.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Tavern Swindler. Oh my god, that card is such trash, though. I think this is a trap. That's what I think. I just want to give that's the grade. Trap.
I think there's enough hidden ways to gain life. I think there's like the black combat trick that gives lifelink. There's, like you said, there's that 4/3. I don't think it's a trap. Like I'm not willing to go that far. I think it's going to be a build around that you do have to work a little bit for. Man, yeah, I wish we had the stats on exactly how many ways there are to gain 3 life though. That's the thing. I think this card is going to be decent. You're going to be able to play it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Beers is saying Alex has fallen into the trap, which I think I'm trying to save you from yourself right here. All right, give me a grade.
Man, so
I can't believe you like this card, but you don't like that 2 mana make a 4/4 fly.
Yeah, I know, right? I want to give this like a build around C+ with the caveat that I might be overrating how likely it is to gain 3 life.
Are you properly rating that you are paying 2 mana to do nothing?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think 2 mana is like an okay amount of mana to do nothing with.
Yeah. I think I want to go C-, D+. I'm gonna the courage of my convictions. D+.
All right, taking a stand. I like it.
What's next?
All right, so next we have Seasoned Hallowblade. This is a 1 and a white for a 3/1. Has the ability to discard a card, tap Seasoned Hallowblade. It gains indestructible until end of turn.
This was
good.
This is really good. This is like, so it turns for folks who maybe haven't played with this effect before or like aren't sure of how this ability works, this can be tapped and you can activate this ability just fine. The only thing is that you can't do it like if you want to block with it, you have to block and then activate to use the ability.
The ability is just like the tap part of it is just so you can't make this as an infinite blocker. That's the idea. It's your opponent's removal spells actually do something.
But so it turns every card in your hand is basically a combat trick for this, or like a way to save it.
A 0 mana combat trick. So the comparison to make is Adonto Vanguard, which had this, but instead of discard a card, you paid 4 life, which I think...
And that wasn't a 3/1 on blocks.
Yes, that wasn't a 3/1 on blocks. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So this card is quite good. Like your opponent just can't ever attack into this until turn 5 when they have a stable board.
And God forbid you put a ++1 counter on this thing.
Do you want to go like B on this?
I'm going B on this. I think this card is ridiculous.
Holy crap! Yeah, I mean I was high on it before, but I think it's even higher.
Yeah, this card is very good. Tempered Veteran is 1 and a white for a 1/2. Human Knight, single white tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. And 4 white tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. This is a guild mage, baby.
It is a guild mage. It's a weird guild mage.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be one of the cards again. I think you're gonna know when you want it, right? I can't imagine you're gonna just play this one straight up as a very, very slow engine.
Yeah, the body is really unimpressive.
Yeah, I mean, I assume from a design perspective, I think the way I'm reading this card is it is a gold card that you can use the 1-mana ability to good effect to, and then it's not just a blank. Like when you put this in your deck that you're expecting to get good use out of it, it's not just a blank when you draw it when you don't happen to have a creature with a counter, right? That's like, all right, sure, we'll give you a way to put a counter on it, right?
Yeah, I think weirdly, it's probably its best home is gonna be white-black. Like that feels like the deck that's gonna be able to get to the late game the most to utilize this
for the 6-mana ability. Yeah,
right.
I think you're just not going to put this card in your deck unless you have.
But we've already seen like inherent counter synergies in white. So like
right. So you mean like, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like in white, you're going to put this card in your deck if you have those cards.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like green also has some amount of counters too, right? This is sort of a white green gold card in some respect,
sure.
But then you'll pick up the white cards some amount of the time to just make this card fine.
I was like Synergy C for me right now. Maybe Synergy C+.
Well, it's a really powerful effect. If you can get this going, it's a very powerful effect, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
I think Synergy C+.
Yeah, I'm in for that. Synergy C+ sounds good.
Yeah.
Light of Promise. What is this?
Yeah, so we've got Light of Promise is 2 and a white for an aura enchantment, and it says the enchanted creature has whenever you gain life, you may put +1/+1 you may put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature.
Now this, I think, will be my first F of the set review.
So this one, I saw this card and I was like, no, this is trash.
And you were right.
I think it's trash plus. I think it's trash plus.
F+ is fine. It's still an F though.
I think you're like, this is going to be one of the cards where I think you're going to get gotten enough times early. If it's decent, that you're gonna start to begrudgingly put it in your deck.
No way. This is worse than Hydra's Growth. As someone's saying it's Hydra's Growth, but much worse. This is a literal, to use the Amaz term, this is a literal 3-mana 0/0. It adds nothing the turn you cast it. Yeah. And then it's just raw stats. It requires you to have. So you have to play this. And then either have a lifelinking creature that already had attacks, or you're playing Revitalize, like you're playing this on 5. And then
you were just saying how Revitalize is going to be decent though,
right? But then this is a 5-mana.
Yeah. I'm playing devil's advocate on this one for too long. I don't want to fight like this, Dad. It's
okay. Well, all right.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you for the most part. So
what's your grade?
I'm going to go D-, but I think there's going to be times you can play it.
All right, Siege Striker, 2 and a white for a 1/1 human soldier with double strike. Oof. Whenever it attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Siege Striker gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped this way.
Yeah, this card's good. It's not anywhere close to as good as the Hallowblade.
No. I think it's close.
I think tapping an amount of creatures is a decently high cost.
Oh, I don't care about tapping this. I just care about putting +1/+1 counters on this.
Yeah, that excites me. That's certainly exciting. And cheap doubles, like anytime you have a cheap double striker, like that always piques my interest, right? All right. When you frame it that way, I didn't quite think about it that way. I'm more excited about this card now. But it does require like a bit of work to get going. It's not just like straight good, right? What do you like on it? Like you like C+?
I think I like C+.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready for that.
Yeah,
I can feel that.
I like this. A little downshifter here. What's this?
Yeah, so we got Rin Wing Mare. So this is 2 and a white for a flying 2/1, and it says non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast.
Yeah, so we saw this as a rare before.
Yeah.
this is not super exciting. Like a 3-mana 2-power flyer is fine. Sky Scanner existing makes this a lot worse, I think. Just because like your opponent ever casts that and then this is just nullified.
This is just not.
It's not good, right?
Right. Like there's gonna be like some 9 creature decks that this is good against. This is actually like, wow, this is a huge annoyance, but you're not happy.
This does wreck blue red probably like a little.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty
right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like just how often? I mean, just the other thing to consider is just like a 2/1 body that you can start putting things on, right? 2/1 flying body, but start putting things on like counters.
I'm just thinking of every card in the context of having Basri's Acolyte on curve.
Yeah, that is a thing. That is a thing. So, but this is just worse Windrake, right? And we're not excited about Windrake.
This is like, I think this is a C-.
Yeah, I would go C- on this one.
Yeah.
It also worth pointing out, this is also everybody's spells, so
right.
It's gonna hurt you a certain amount of the time.
Right.
Speaking of reprints here,
yeah, Faith's Fetters is back. 3 and a white for an enchantment. Enchant permanent. When it ETBs, you gain 4 life. Enchanted permanent can't attack, block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities.
Yeah, this is nice.
This is really good.
Yeah, this
card is great in Cube. This card is going to be great in Core Set.
Yeah, so I think, if anybody hasn't played with this card before, right, I think it's easy to make like a pacifism comparison, right? But not being able to activate activated abilities is like a huge thing, right? That's a decent upgrade on its own. And then the 4 life is really what pushes it over the edge, because that's like a decently large tempo swing, right? So you're gonna play this card in your aggressive decks, your controlling decks, any deck that can cast it, and it's gonna be like a B.
Yeah,
you want to go B plus?
I'm going B plus.
Yeah. All right, let's see it. Let's see B plus.
What's this?
All right, so next up we hear a Falconer Adept. So this is 3 and a white for a 2/3. Whenever Falconer Adept attacks, create a 1/1 bird. Create a 1/1 white bird creature token that is flying, that is tapped and attacking.
That seems tough. That's a tough ask. That I can attack on turn 5 with my 4-mana 2/3, and all I get is a 1/1 flyer that may not even have good attacks.
So I kind of like this card. I agree it's kind of a tough ask, but it's also kind of just like a mini game card in a way, right? Like you just want to keep getting this through. And it plays well with like just any combat track, feat of resistance. It's good with, there's a few ways to jump your creatures in blue, and white even, right? Just jumping this with the 4/3 flyer, or sorry, the 2/3 flyer. I think this card is going to play out a little bit better than it looks.
Wait, what about the 2/3 flyer? What?
Sorry, 3/2 flyer. My bad. You can jump this. You can give this flying.
But even after you've gone through some hoops to make a 1/1.
Yeah.
That's not even that, like, if this was just an uncommon 4-mana 2/3 make a 1/1 flyer, that would be fine. That wouldn't be absurd. But you have to jump through some hoops to get that done. I don't know, dude.
But this is a huge velocity card, right? Like you get the ball rolling and you keep it rolling. I think this card is quite good.
I think the 3/2 at common is better than this.
The flyer?
The 3/2 flyer for 4 is better. I think you want to talk about velocity. I'd rather have that.
I think that, so there's going to be a percentage of the time where your opponent just, has only like, a creature on board.
Yeah, so literally anything wins at that point, right? Like,
I mean, no, like burying your opponent and making a bunch of 1/1s or even 2/1s when they've stumbled, that matters, right? Because they are going to have more cards in hand than you, so when they do eventually come back, they'll have more resources, but they're going to have to deal with like the 2/1s that you've made or whatever, right? I think there's enough things at common and uncommon that we've seen that pump this up or get it through that I think you're just going to be. This is a good card.
All right, I think this is gonna be our first big disagreement here.
Yeah. So what do you want to give it?
Highest I could go would be C-. I kind of want to go D+, honestly.
I'm gonna give this a C. I'm happy about C.
All right. Last uncommon here is Avian Gagglemaster. 3 white for a 4/3 bird warrior with flying.
What a
when
name.
it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature you control with flying. This card's great.
Yeah, so recently Angel of Mercy, is that what the comparison is? Or Angel of whatever the 5 mana 3/3 gain 3, right? That we've seen in a bunch of sets recently or in the past few years, and that's always been an overperformer, right?
Yeah.
And this giving an additional point of power matters a lot. You gain a life less just in a vacuum, but I'm assuming you're gonna have other flyers in your deck, right?
Yeah.
This is the 5-drop of choice, most likely. Do you want to go B- on this one?
I do.
Yeah, let's go B-. I like it.
All right, that's going to bring us up to the rares and the mythics, starting off with this little 1-drop. Speaker of the Heavens, single white for a 1/1 with Vigi and lifelink. Tap, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total, and only any time you could cast a sorcery. So activate this ability only if you're winning pretty hard.
So how much do you like 1 mana 1/1 Vigilance lifelink, Ethan? You like that card?
I don't. I mean, in the context of the set, I like it.
Yeah, a little bit, right? That's the thing.
But like, it's not better than Anointed Chorister.
No, I think Anointed Chorister is better. But I think the role for this card is like the discount or the knockoff version of Anointed Chorister, just like the 1/3 was, right? Yeah. So you'll play this as your 1-drop in your aggressive white decks, and it'll be like totally whatever. You're just almost never activating this unless you've gotten a bunch of lifelink hits and your opponent.
This feels like the nail in the coffin activation. If you
the nail in the coffin activation is exactly it.
Honestly, maybe this is a reason to build a maybe this is a Revitalize build around.
Revitalize 3 times build around, or two and get a lifelink hit in.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you need other stuff to turtle up. Yeah. But I feel like I'm excited to try and build a control deck. If I see this pack 1 pick 1, I think this could be a reason to try and do some control-y stuff.
Oh man, you know what's gonna be the real tilter when your opponent goes this into Tavern Swindler and wins the flip multiple times in a row.
Yeah, that's gonna be super tilt. Wow, that's so true. That's gross. I think I'm just gonna go C on this card.
Yeah, let's go C or I don't know. I think I like C-.
Right,
I think
C- is fine.
Yeah.
We got a reprint here.
Yeah, we got Containment Priest. So this is 1 and a white for a flash 2/2. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. So this affects, I think, maybe about 3 or 4 cards in the set. There's 2 reanimation spells that affects, and there's a few. I think there's 1 or 2 things that bring themselves back from the graveyard. So this is a flash bear, which is just fine. That's perfectly a C, right? Flash bear.
C-.
Sure. I mean, yeah, sure. I don't want to not to yeah. And then once in a while, your opponent's going to stare at their screen and be like, "What just happened?" Right. So yeah, I think just giving this C- is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable if it doesn't make your main deck. If you have it to if you play against blue black, you bring this in.
Yeah, exactly. And
sometimes there's a zombify effect at common this time.
Yes, there is.
So that's something to think about. Yeah.
And some of the time you're just gonna want a 2-drop, and you're like, all right, flash 2-drop, it's fine.
Yeah. So I think C sounds fine.
Yep.
All right. Next up is Pack Leader. This is 1 and a white for a 2/2 dog. Other dogs you control get +1/+1. Whenever Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn to dogs you control. So really powerful. We saw there was an effect like this in, what was it? I think it was Gate Crash. There was a 3 mana 3/3 that had Battalion when you attacked with it and at least 2 other things. Everything attacking was indestructible.
Yeah, frontline medic.
Yes. No, good pull, bro. Good.
And it had counter target.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah, this is great. This is a great aggressive card, right? Just the fact that it attacks with impunity, basically. Quite good. Comparable to the 3/1 that can give itself indestructible, right? And then some amount of time you're just gonna give your dogs +1/+1. That is gonna be great if you have the random Igneous Cur or the 2 mana 2/2 vigilance. B-?
Yeah, I think so. I think for B- here.
Yeah.
All right, what's up next?
All right, so next up here, We got Rune Halo. So this is white for an enchantment. As Rune Halo enters the battlefield, choose a card. You have protection from the chosen card. So this is basically a guard duty ability, right? Just like put it on a blocker and put it on your opponent's creature, it just becomes a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's saying F in chats for this card, eh? So this is not quite an F, right? It's just a bad removal spell, right? Yeah. It's not exciting. You can put it in your deck and it's totally fine. You randomly hose multiple copies of a card, right?
Yeah, right. So I think the guard duty comparison is quite apt, right? Because you can never name, like, it's not like, oh, I saw multiple Scorching Dragonfire, so I'll name that.
Yeah,
because it's only you, not your permanents or your creatures.
Yeah.
So I think that the best application is to, like, shut down a big attacker. They can still block with it, but if they attack, you don't block, and then it just doesn't deal you any damage.
Right. I think that, and I guess we should say Sky Tether, because that's the more recent comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you like on this card? Like a D?
Yeah, D. I think probably, honestly, it feels kind of more sideboardy, but you can play it. But like, it feels like it's I just saw a thing that I can't deal with.
Also, just like, do white decks want a guard duty? I guess blue-white and black-white might, but like,
yeah, I don't know.
Your red-white deck certainly doesn't want a guard duty.
I think I'm gonna go sideboard with this.
Sure, yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah. We got Basri Ket, first planeswalker here. This is 1 white for a 3 loyalty walker. +1, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains indestructible until end of turn. -2, whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn, create that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. And then -6, you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Wow.
Yeah, so I think, on an empty board, you're just going to keep plussing and run away with the game very quickly. Like, there's sometimes when you go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, or even like just 2-drop, 3-drop, and you come off to a fast start, and your opponent kind of thinks, okay, well, opponent's off to a fast start, but I can play my 4/4, start stabilizing. This just makes that impossible, basically, right? Like, if this gets cast on a board of even going 2 into 3 and opponent not having anything, I think the game's close-ish to over at that point. The -2, I think people might be too afraid to cash this in for the -2 and just have it die. But that -2 is really pretty powerful, right? Just like making a quick burst of 3 tokens or whatever. Like that's pretty good. So I think it's like
this is a cool planeswalker for limited because I don't think it's busted.
It's not busted. Yeah,
it felt like the comparison was Dovin from Ravnica Allegiance, which was like a 3-mana walker. It had sort of similar things, like didn't protect itself on the plus, made some creatures on the minus. Like I think this really fits in with what we think. If White's game plan is curve out into Basri's Acolyte, curving out into Basri Ket, or maybe you don't play it on curve. I think this does what White wants to do.
Yeah, I like this as like a B, probably. Yeah, it's just like super solid, and then will take over the game if you're like, a notch ahead of your opponent.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, so we got another reprint here. This is Glorious Anthem. So this is 1 white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Simple, baby.
I think this is, again, good. I wish there were token makers, but there aren't. But I think this is good. I think this is like B-.
Yeah, super fine. Like
I don't think I'm taking this over the Acolyte.
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I think you are.
You think you are? So then
it's
a B.
I think you just want to put this as a B. Yeah.
Wait, what? I don't think you do want this.
Yeah, no, like you had me thinking though. Like I think maybe just like my bias of this being a card from the past
and it's a cube card.
Yeah, it's a cube card. Yeah.
I think it's like B. I think it's B-, but but I still have Acolyte as a B. I think I'm taking Acolyte over this.
Yeah, that's another one of those interesting questions that as we go into it, it's going to be interesting to see which one is better.
Yeah.
Like obviously the plus for this is it pumps everything and it affects the creatures you draw later, right?
Yeah. But it itself, right. It's like what Beers is saying in chat. Acolyte does this and comes with a body.
Sure, yeah.
And like you never want to, you're not playing this on 3. I mean, maybe you are. Like we've seen 1-drops that we're happy to play, so maybe you are going 1-drop, 2-drop this.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with B minus. I mean, I like I said, I'm not sure exactly where this falls between this and Acolyte, but B minus is fine.
Yeah. All right, Idol of Endurance is 2 and a white for an artifact. When it ETBs, exile all creature cards with CMC 3 or less from your graveyard until Idol of Endurance leaves the battlefield. And you can pay 1 and a white tap until end of turn. You may cast a creature spell from among the cards exiled with Idol of Endurance without paying its mana cost. I have a letter in mind.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to guess if this is a high letter or a low letter. I think this is good. This is
terrible. This is atrocious. This is an F.
Oh man, no love.
I'm finding it hard to imagine a board state / white deck that cares about this. This is certainly not a 3-drop.
No. I think I can't believe I'm making this argument, but I feel like we were thinking of all these white cards in hyper aggro, right? But that's not like, you're not telling me your black-white deck doesn't want this card?
No, hold on. We're getting some Luris comparisons here.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not Luris.
This doesn't continually do the thing.
Yeah. This is not close to Luris.
Like, you get 2 things in the yard, and then you got to cast this, and then you get to rebuy those 2 things, and they're not very good things. Like, they were good on turn 1 and 2, but now they're not. Like, it's so hard for me to imagine this being good.
Man, yeah, so I think this is going to be a fine card. You're not going to play this in like your aggressive decks, but like it's a fine value engine, right? Like if you're trading off some stuff in your black-white deck, yeah, I think this is just fine. I think this is just like a build around, not even build around, but like synergy C plus. I'm gonna say Synergy C plus.
Synergy C plus has been called. Yeah. I can't wait to check in on this card.
All right, yeah.
You're in all seriousness. If one of us is right, it's gonna be you, just because like we so rarely get Fs in limited. But I'm having a really hard time contextualizing this card being good.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's hard to imagine this playing out, right? It's hard to know without knowing what the format's the cadence of the games in the format.
Yeah.
All right, we got 9 lives here, so it's 1 white for an enchantment with hexproof. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you'll lose the game.
So, is this the Lich's Mastery?
I was going to say, so it's Lich's Mastery, right?
I mean, it kind of is.
So,
like, I have no idea. I think this card will do something for me at some point in this format.
You can't tell me you like this card, but not the previous card.
I can and I am, sir.
So, okay, real talk here.
Yeah.
This is a good card against green decks more than it is against like white or red decks, right? Because like the bigger the source of damage, like it prevents any source of damage. It doesn't care about how big it is, right? So if you're preventing a 1/1, it prevents the 1/1. If you're preventing a 6/6, it prevents the 6/6.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't want to call this a sideboard card against green because I don't think that's what it is, but I think it's just worth noting that.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me some words on this card because I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, first off, this is like the most horrifying art. This art is literally my nightmare. Just cats in the sky.
Yeah.
I think this like do as I say, not as I do. This card is bad.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna meme with this card at some point in the format. But like this is an F.
Let's put this in terms of how much life this is gonna gain you, right? I think this is probably going to gain you 15. Say you play it when you're like at 5 life, right?
It's 9 times, baby. 9 of them.
Yeah. So
9 of their biggest attacks. That's more than 15 life.
So it's like, I guess so. Maybe this is gonna be more annoying. Like I feel like when my opponent plays this for the first time, I'm gonna be like, wow, that was annoying. That was very annoying. You know.
The more I think about it, the more I think this card is good.
No, Ethan, don't fall down the trap. You're falling into the trap.
It's like it buys you, I don't know, 6 turns to like stabilize and get your like. I think this is a good card in a control deck.
Okay, I can. I
don't know what control deck white gets to be, but if that exists, I think this is a good card in that deck.
I can buy 20 to 23 playable in a control deck, in a white control deck.
Yeah.
So you want what do you get in this? Like side synergy C?
I mean, I'm gonna give it an F. I think that's the responsible grade.
That's the responsible thing to do, with the earmark of this will do something at some point in the format in some corner of the world.
Yeah, just get ready for my 9 live screenshots.
Yeah.
What grade are you giving it?
I want to give it I'm gonna call it sideboard. I think sideboard
against green decks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Against green decks when you are a controlling white deck, which is very specific.
No, you can't flicker the enchantment because if it leaves the battlefield at any time, you lose the game.
Yeah, the trigger will go on the stack, right?
Basri's Lieutenant is 3 and a white for a 3/4 human knight. Vigilance, protection from multicolored. When Basri's Lieutenant enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. When it or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. Another F.
It's clear F.
Just another
like
F.
We don't like good cards in limited.
This
Moving
is an
on.
A-.
This is nuts. This card is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card is very, very good. I like A-, even A potentially. Maybe it's like not quite in that range, but A-, very, very good card.
Right, this card is absurd.
Yeah.
Speaking of absurd.
Yeah. Speaking of absurd, so we've got Mangara the Diplomat, 3 and a white for a 2/4 lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, odd phrasing, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So this card's very good, right? Like on stats, like 2/4 lifelink is like good. It's not busted or anything, but it's good. But it really does restrict what your opponent is doing, right? It really makes it like double spelling is not a thing. If you land this on 4, it really hurts, right? Now, of course, this can just get snapped off by a removal spell, no harm, no foul. But if the opponent isn't so lucky as to have that, or they're playing blue-white or something like that, it's gonna be a pain.
Yes. This is an A-. A.
I think I want to go B+. I think it's not quite like Potter's good, but I think it's like, yeah, maybe I'm underrating it.
I guess when you're behind, it's not that. No, of course it's good when you're behind because like it's a 2/4 lifelink that can block and then draw you a card.
It's a stabilizer. It's a very, very, very good stabilizer, right?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna stick A-. I think
I'm gonna go B+. I think it's good, but I think it's like markedly worse than the last card we saw.
Mm-hmm. And last up, oh baby,
man, why are we getting all the bad cards in a row? Like, gee, they put them all there. So we got Baneslayer Angel. This is 3 white for a 5/5 flying first strike lifelink, protection from dragons and from demons.
Dies to Doomblade, does not die to Grasp of Darkness. Yeah, A+.
Yeah, this is just like, is it a Muldrifter or is it a Baneslayer? This one is clearly a Baneslayer. I think that, while this card has probably gotten worse over the years, it's still busted good. You're still going to be very upset when your opponent plays it.
Mm-hmm.
We, for a recent comparison, we had Lyra, which is just like one of the best cards in its set.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go A on this one.
Yeah, me too. All right, that's gonna do it for white.
Awesome.